let's make the heavyweight division great again. Let's have an active defending UFC heavyweight champion. Yeah. And let's move on. So I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight. I want to get 2 fights in before the end of the year, so that's what we're doing.
Okay.
So we finally...
MMA fighter Tom Aspinall has revealed 2 massive money fights of the year, and shockingly, UFC fans still believe that Jon Jones is in the mix. While Aspinall continues to call out big names, his behavior has started to mirror the same trolling tactics Jon Jones is known for. Just recently, Tom announced a promo for his fight, which turned out to be less of a fight announcement and more of a publicity stunt. Even Adam Catterall was shocked at Tom's crazy antics and thought that he had lost his mind just because Jon Jones avoided a fight with him.
Just announcing something. Massive announcement. You won't believe it. It's massive.
Do you not think they'll think that you're announcing the thing?
Yeah, I'm just announcing Fight Lab. The biggest announcement you have ever seen.
Mate, honestly, you know what happened last time? People got carried away with this. I think this is a bad idea.
The biggest announcement I've ever made in my life. Ever.
Adam, I can't believe it. Oh my days. The fight of the century. It's happening.
No.
Use your speed, stick and move. We're behind you all the way, bro.
Despite the trolling, Aspinall has remained vocal on the serious issue of Jon Jones's status in the UFC. He recently addressed the ongoing uncertainty, saying it's clear Jones has retired. He emphasizes the need for an active heavyweight division and expresses his readiness to fight twice before the year ends. While respecting Jones's legacy, he agrees it's time to move forward. Aspinall voices frustration over the division's inactivity and calls for consistent title defenses to bring excitement back to the heavyweight ranks.
You go for it.
Tom, any updates? What's going on with Jon Jones?
Oh, I'm sick of talking about myself. I mean, I think it's pretty clear to see Jon Jones is retired. Okay. He does not want to fight me, so we wish Jon all the best in the future, of course, but we want this heavyweight division active. We want to give these contenders a chance to fight. We want to have a defending champion, don't we? Why is this division so stagnant all the time? Let's make the heavyweight division great again. Let's have an active defending UFC heavyweight champion. And let's move on. So I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight. I want to get 2 fights in before the end of the year, so that's what we're doing.
Okay.
So we finally have some movement. Jon's had a great career. We respect him. We know what he's done. Jon told us 50 million times he's the greatest of all time. All right, have a good life. He's living his best life out there, and we move on.
Okay.
On the other hand, former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen provided an update on the Jon Jones situation and claimed that it seems like Jon Jones may have overplayed his hand in the UFC. Chael argued that Jon is playing a risky hand of negotiation tactics that may just turn on his face. He explained that Tom Aspinall, the UFC, and Jones all had strong positions, yet Jon may eventually be stripped of the title if he goes too far.
Pat Brown had a little advice for Jon Jones. Do not overplay your hand with the UFC. Yeah, that's right. What does Matt know? Why did he say that? Let's guess. Let's take a look at it, because we probably know what Matt knows. I don't think there's anyone out there that's got like this inside track. The best reporters, the Errol Hawani's. I don't think anybody fully knows what's going on with Tom and Jon, but let's take a look at that. Why not to overplay your hand? Because you get stripped. It's as easy as that. It's a very interesting time in the UFC. On one hand, it is extremely clear what the fight is. It's extremely clear that everybody, without hiding, is admitting that everybody at the table's got a good hand.
Additionally, Chael Sonnen highlighted that while the fight between Tom and Jones seemed inevitable, no one party desperately needed it, making over-negotiation risky. He added that the heavyweight division already had an active champion, and Jon Jones's involvement wasn't critical, but even then, Jones made a risky move. He also debunked the rumor that Jones rejected the fight, revealing instead that Jones sought a $12 million guarantee to fight Aspinall.
Everyone's been quite, this is the fight. But it's one of the few times in the UFC you don't need the fight. Guys, we just went through this. It was called Lopez Volkanovski. Guys, we're getting ready to go through this. It's called Oliveira Topuria. We don't have to do that at heavyweight. We already know who the belt goes to. We already have a belt out there. We have the belt on an active champion whose title right now is undisputed. And I'm just sharing with you, I don't believe Jon Jones has turned this fight down. I don't believe that. There's a story going around that is largely believed. In fact, Ariel even spoke about it to me yesterday. And Ariel nothing like this would come to Ariel's mouth unless he was not very confident in his source, of which he would have 3.
Furthermore, Sonnen argued that Jon Jones allegedly demanded $12 million from the UFC for a fight against Aspinall, and the UFC agreed. He added that Jones is thinking he has the edge in the negotiation, but that is not the case now since he is very close to being stripped of the belt. Chael continued to suggest that Aspinall is already a champion and the belt would go to him with or without the Jon Jones fight, declaring that Jones is making a huge mistake.
But the UFC said okay. And the problem with giving a guy that big of a quote, and here's what you really have to understand, like John's check at the end of the night will be the biggest check that he's ever got. It'll be the biggest check anyone has ever got from the UFC. It will beat out Lesnar. It'll beat out George. Ronda's weren't as big as they embellished. It'll crush hers. Just sharing with you the reason you can't come in with a quote. And on the back end, you're safe. It's generous and it's a kind thing to do that you don't owe anybody, but you're also safe. Because it's the back end. All the numbers come out first. Now you're talking about a percentage of what's left. All right. Perfect world. Front end, not a perfect world. You're on the hook.
In addition to this, Chael Sonnen reiterated his doubt that Jones declined the fight and noted that November was the target date for his fight with Aspinall. But he also stated that Jon Jones is making a risky move that may end up with his belt being snatched. Nonetheless, Chael argued that Jon Jones may still be in the mix and his negotiation tactics would either fail or prove to be worthy in his next fight.
I don't believe that John's turned it down. Even though Ariel's confirmed it, even though that's believed in our industry, I do not believe that Jon Jones got a phone call matching Jon Jones's demands and he said no. Not to mention the date that's currently being looked at is November at Madison Square Garden. So by the way, even that crazy, I need 180 days, like even all could be satisfied. And I do not believe that Jon Jones would play that game of chicken. Moreover, I don't believe that if he did, we wouldn't have heard about it. Moreover, I don't believe that if he did, we would have heard about it and he would have been stripped. If they believe it, if it's to the point that they're ready to move on. I mean, they've heard no's before. You get no's all the time. Turn those no's into yeses. It's to the point when they're done trying.
Contrary to Chael's remarks that Jon Jones is not retired but is playing his hand in the UFC, Ariel Helwani shared that even the UFC is pushing for Jones's retirement. He brought up a notable post from the UFC's official YouTube channel that appeared to suggest Jon Jones had retired. He stated that the clip featured a graphic calling Tom Aspinall the undisputed heavyweight champion and stated he's retired in reference to Jones. Ariel initially believed it was a fan-made or unofficial post, but was surprised to find it came directly from the UFC.
You know, yesterday we were talking about Tom, of course. Every day we have to talk about Tom, Jon. Chael comes on, plugs his show, no problem, interview, Jon's retired, all that stuff. Did you happen to see this? Look at the UFC YouTube channel posting this. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Good guy, bad guy, he's retired. And first I thought, wait a second, and by the way, who made this little thing here? This is fantastic. Well done to whoever did this. Who was this? Was that Connor? Was that Jordan?
That'd be On-Air Jordan.
Well done. I like that. Can we see one more time?
I speak French. I do a little editing.
I want to see this. I want to see this again, how it came up like that. That was nice. Look at this. PT, I thought this was very significant because here's the UFC, and I thought it was one of those like fake UFC YouTube channels, just like repurposing things. They're pushing the retired gimmick. They're pushing the undisputed gimmick. Like, that doesn't happen often.
Meanwhile, Pitesi Carroll disagreed with Ariel's comments that Jon Jones is finally retired and wondered whether it was an effort to pressure Jones or publicly align with Tom Aspinall. He pointed out that although public discussion previously centered on Jones's indecision, the pressure may now be shifting back to the UFC.
This might be a sign, finally, from the heavens.
Well, what is the sign, if you don't mind me asking? Like, are they trying to put pressure on Jones here with this kind of stuff?
Point.
Like, look, we're on Tom's side. Like, surely if things were changing, something would have happened, right? So I just feel like we're now in a situation where the UFC are more publicly aligned with Tom Aspinall and saying, come on, Jon. But really, like, we went through those weeks where we're like, this is on Jon. But that was only going to last so long. Like, it was always going to come back to the UFC, have to make a move. that's where I am now. Like, what are we going to do here? We need to do something. If you're just going to let John kind of twiddle his thumbs and enjoy himself in Thailand, he's going to continue to do that.
On the other hand, Ariel Helwani continued to suggest that the UFC, including the fans and even Tom Aspinall, wanted John to publicly announce retirement since he is busy with his antics in Thailand. Helwani noted that although it's not the UFC's style to push clickbait content, they are desperate to either strip Jon Jones or put more pressure on John and his team by publicly humiliating him.
But I will say, I think it's significant that the UFC is pushing this. They don't usually take these interviews unless I've missed it. And so perhaps this is a sign, to your point, what's the sign? Is the sign that they're trying to pressure him? I don't know. Is the sign that, they're trying to tell us something? I don't know. I think we are going to find out soon. I'm only bringing this up, not to have a whole discussion about like shit or get off the pot. I just thought it was significant that they actually reposted this and then went with the he's retired on the, like, they don't get into this sort like the clickbaity YouTube game. They're the UFC. They don't need to get into it. And so I thought that was significant. Also, by the way, yesterday we were talking about, and I don't even know if we have this. I threw it up in the chat yesterday, but I forgot to bring it up.
It's only going to help, honestly.
I was doing some quick research on the Tom Aspinall thing. It doesn't look like the UFC has ever posted a clip from Good Guy, Bad Guy.
Wow.
This is the first one ever.
Wow. There's something there.
I will say they're testing out this thumbnail, though, because just a couple days later, it's the same thing with Sean O'Malley, but instead of he's retired, like it says next to Tom, it says knockout incoming.
Building on that pressure, Tom Aspinall was direct in firmly asserting that Jon Jones is essentially retired. He voiced his frustration over the continued silence and lack of clarity, implying that Jones is stalling the division. Aspinall urged the UFC to take swift action, suggesting that it's time to stop shielding Jones and allow the heavyweight division to progress.
Is that true?
Nah, man, John's retired. What are we talking about, guys? John, you guys don't follow John on social media?
I don't follow him on social media. He said that.
No, me too, actually. Me too. But the guy is living his best life. He's had a fantastic career. We all know. We know John's a religious man, so I want to say God bless him moving forward in what he does with his life and his career. And we move on. We move on. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm ready to take on all comers, get this division moving again. Us guys have been waiting around too long. The contenders are getting sick of it.
Mentioning the same thing that Aspinall did, Chael Sonnen applauded Tom for openly declaring that his rival, Jon Jones, has retired. He praised Aspinall for staying focused on his goal of fighting for the undisputed title.
He just announced his nemesis's retirement. And to add to it, Daniel, he wished him well. Now, that's not something you would do of an enemy. That's something you would do of a former foe. So perhaps we are in the presence of the undisputed champion. I mean, he said he was, after all. And let me tell you something that Tom is. Not only is he a champion, he's the active champion. I think they should talk about that. He's the only champion we got that wants to fight. He's the only one champion. He's the ready champion. He's the in-camp champion. He's the on-weight champion. I mean, not for nothing. He's the licensed champion. He got every damn championship you can have except the undisputed belt, Daniel. Our industry does owe Tom something better than we're giving him right now.
Tom.
Besides this, Michael Bisping shared similar sentiments on John's retirement as Chael Sonnen and highlighted how Jones had previously avoided the matchup, choosing instead to travel, party, and enjoy life. Meanwhile, Bisping added that fans grew increasingly frustrated, leading to a petition with nearly 150,000 signatures demanding Jones be stripped of his title. Bisping noted the overwhelming public demand for this fight and how support for Jones had waned over time, but the fight could still garner attention.
Jon Jones, it looks like this is a done deal, ladies and gentlemen. That is correct, okay? We know the history. We know Jon Jones has been doing anything but accepting the fight. He's been living his best life. He's been out in Thailand. He's been riding around on motorbikes, sniffing people's hairs, having a good old time, drinking beers, enjoying himself, enjoying the fruits of his labor.
Are you intoxicated?
But not accepting the fight with Tom. The petition to have him stripped is at almost 150,000 signatures, something like that. It's crazy. The appetite for this fight is through the absolute goddamn roof. The disrespect on Jon Jones, that's gone through the roof as well. A lot of people defended him at the beginning, saying, well, he doesn't really need to fight him, but it seems the tide has turned. People are fed up. It's time to put up and shut up, defend or vacate, and guess what? It seems like Jon Jones.
Additionally, Bisping also shared some contrasting remarks coming right from Jon's own mouth. Michael emphasized that Jones seemed to be avoiding Aspinall, but recent developments hinted otherwise, especially after Jones made a cryptic but promising announcement at a seminar in Thailand, where he suggested the fight was in motion behind the scenes. Bisping added that while legal issues may be limiting what Jones can say publicly, all signs pointed to the bout being essentially agreed upon.
Might have been talking and playing us all for fools this entire time, because he was just at a seminar in Thailand, Bangtao, world famous gym, and he gave one hell of an announcement.
When are you fighting Tom?
I was waiting for it. When are you fighting Tom? Like, governor. The UFC in town, we all got a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. They're one of the biggest organizations in sports, and right now Tom and I have agreed to wait for the UFC to make their announcements. So I legally can't really talk about it.
So of course he's at Bangtao, he's doing a Q&A, and he was asked, when is the fight with Tom going to happen? He knew it was going to come, and his answer explains a lot. He said it's going to happen. He basically says the fight is a done deal, but of course,
even with the suggestion hanging in the air that Jon is having negotiations with the UFC, Aspinall didn't seem convinced. He reiterated that he's the only heavyweight actively seeking matchups, and voiced clear frustration over being sidelined despite staying in top form. Additionally, he called out Jon Jones for failing to clarify his retirement status.
Again, getting these big fights in, fighting these contenders who are sat on the sidelines waiting for, you know, over a year at this point. Like, yeah. I'm here to fight, man. I have never... I see a lot of people online, and I know you guys have had debates about it. I know all the YouTube guys are debating about it all the time. Like, I'm not looking to fight Jon Jones. I'm looking to fight for the undisputed heavyweight champion. That's what I want to be. I want to be the UFC undisputed heavyweight champion. I'm not... I see a lot of people, you know, comparing me to Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler waited for a long time for Conor McGregor and stuff like that. Crazy. I'm not waiting for one fight. I'm not trying to fight one guy. I'm trying to fight all the guys. I'm trying to be the guy at heavyweight who takes out everybody.
Furthermore, Aspinall continued to say that he is there to fight anybody he can get his hands on, even if it means skipping the Jon Jones fight. He added that although he would love to fight Jon Jones, that isn't the fight that he is crazy about, and he would love some movement in the heavyweight division.
And it doesn't matter who it is, Cyril Gane, Volkov rematch, Almeida, Derek Lewis, Brock Lesnar, whoever it is, I don't care. I want to fight everybody, and I want to fight as much as possible, get some excitement back in this division, and let's not talk about Jon Jones anymore, man. All the best. The guy's living his best life. Full respect to him. Wish him all the best in the future. He deserves all the money and success that he gets, and I'm the active guy. I'm going to fight somebody, and that's going to be announced pretty soon.
Although Tom Aspinall has been left in the dark regarding Jon Jones, Bisping explained that the UFC typically plans major announcements strategically, not through offhand remarks at Q&As. He added that this level of planning indicates the bout's magnitude and importance to the UFC brand. Bisping asserted that this fight deserved a grand reveal, likely with a press conference and full media attention.
They can't announce it yet. Now, of course, this is one of the most highly anticipated fights in all of UFC history. And you can't just announce it, oh, the fight's going to happen. No.
That's stupid.
Fights of this magnitude, the UFC want to do a proper job. They want to announce it in a spectacular fashion. They want to have a press conference. They want the world's media there. They don't want someone on YouTube or whatever, or on the phone just going, yeah, the fight's happening, right? Even when I was fighting my fights, I wasn't allowed to announce them. They wanted to announce them, as I say, in the proper way to make sure that all the world's media is there and it gets all the coverage that it deserves. This is the kind of fight that, of course, deserves that kind of attention. This is a fight the world are crying out for, and this is a fight that it seems like we are going to see.
I told you guys already, we'll get Aspinall versus Jones done.
The MMA guru shared something very disturbing regarding Jon Jones that may have hindered the fight deal. The The MMA Guru stated that former UFC referee John McCarthy reportedly witnessed Jon Jones engaging in a disturbing sexual act backstage prior to one of his major fights. The MMA Guru shared that these recent allegations have damaged John's reputation for a future fight.
With Big John McCarthy, former UFC referee, let it play Big John. Listen, I'm going to let it get to it first because I want to give the full clip context. I'll just let it play.
But when I went into John's locker room, he's, bouncing around, he's having a good time. And he said, I got a question for you. I said, yeah, what's your question?
So Big John's a UFC referee, goes backstage, talks to the fighters before their big fights, and they'll ask him, okay, is this legal? Is that legal? Am I allowed to do this? What should I do if this happens? I've got this going on. Do you want to know about that? So if I'm in this position, then you can be aware of it. So a lot of information gets passed back and forth between the UFC referee and...
Adding further commentary on the matter, the MMA Guru harshly criticized Jon Jones for what he described as a vile act, stating that the available evidence strongly supports not just stripping Jones of his titles, but removing him from the UFC entirely. The MMA Guru also mentioned he had long suspected this darker side of Jones, though few took him seriously until now, which is the reason the Aspinall fight has been delayed this long.
This is crazy! Everybody call me crazy! I knew this about Jon Jones. We need to what is going on here? Is Big John pranking me? I feel like Big John McCarthy is running a big prank on me right now. Jon Jones did what? And everyone just glossed over this story. But this is like the Ellen, I said this is like the Ellen thing. But Ellen was horrible. So everyone had some story about being on her show and how she knocked something off of their desk once, and she didn't leave a tip that well once at a restaurant. She's a horrible person. This is crazy. Left, right, and center, more evidence to support these crazy claims that only a madman would believe. So some people out there might have been thinking, you know what, there's a lot of evidence supporting the Jon Jones allegations. However, there's not going to be any more evidence. There's not going to be some random bulletproof evidence that comes out of nowhere that supports the allegations against Jon Jones even further. Well, guess again, out of nowhere, Big John McCarthy continues the Jon Jones allegations.
Do you think Jon Jones will fight Tom Aspinall? Who will Tom Aspinall fight besides Jon Jones? We would love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments section below and subscribe for more content like this.